Hi, I'm Christian Triola, author of The Missing Method for Guitar books. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the pentatonic scale to come up with solos similar to the one you heard at the beginning of this video. So this lesson is all about improvisation. And that's the idea that a band's playing a backing track for you and you get to make something up that captures the spirit of the moment using all of the stuff that you spend time learning. So today we're going to talk about how do you get from scales to creating an actual solo that sounds halfway decent. And of course that skill takes a long time to develop, but you can start off nice and easily and have a decent sounding solo right away. So let's get started. Our first step is to learn the pentatonic scale. Now I have some other videos on that, so if you don't know the pentatonic scale, check that out first, or you could check out this book that's beside me here called Pentatonic Master, and it takes you through all 5 positions of the pentatonic scale, which is a 5-note scale. It shows you where to play those 5 notes all over the neck. So in case you don't know that scale, I'm going to go over it briefly here. First, we play the last string open, then the 3rd fret on that string. Those are our first 2 notes, open and 3rd. Then we go to the 5th string open, followed by the 2nd fret. Again, 5th string open followed by the 2nd fret on string 4. Again, 3rd string open followed by the 2nd fret. So those were all the same. 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2. Then we go to the 2nd string open followed by the 3rd fret. And then the very first string, which is again open followed by the 3rd fret once again. So all together, open 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, open 3, open 3. So you want to learn that forward and backward. And what those are the 5 notes of E minor that allows you to play all sorts of things in that key of E. So once you know that, you can start improvising in that key. Now a lot of times you'll learn the pentatonic scale in the key of A as well, which is right here in the middle of the fretboard. So all the open strings are now replaced by the 5th fret, and you would go up the same distance from that fret. So that's just a different key just to give you an idea of what you can do with it. But for today, we're sticking with that E minor pentatonic scale. So the way that I always start things off is I have a 12-bar blues chord progression that I use for my students to improvise over. So those are of course 3 chord progressions. We have an E chord, E major, we have A major, and of course B7. And then you put that into a 12-bar blues format. So if you're not familiar with the 12-bar blues, I do have a video on that. It explains that format. It's simply 12 measures that follows a specific pattern. So I'm going to play for you what that 12-bar blues will sound like, and then we'll get into the improvising. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is a 12-bar blues in E. So what we're going to do is use that as our background and start improvising. So the first thing we're going to do is take one single note and play it over all those chords. Now what you want to do is come up with something that's going to make that interesting. Because if you just sit there and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, that's going to get old really fast. So you have to learn how to phrase it. How would you sing a single note over all of that and make it sound good? So here's a demonstration. I've already recorded the background, so I'm going to start that up, and then you'll hear what I do with one note. And I'm just going to play the first string open the whole time. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you go. So it was the rhythm that made the difference there, if you notice, not the notes that I was playing, and yet it still sounded like a 12-bar blues, and it still sounded kind of like a decent solo. And that's what you'll want to try. Before going on in the video, just listen to that 12-bar blues, rewind to that demonstration that I just did, play along with one note, and then you'll add a second note. So we're going to use open and third, because that's in the pentatonic scale. Let's go ahead and try that. Here we go. All right. So you can hear just two notes. Again, the rhythm is key there so that you can add variety by making some things long, some things short. And as you've probably guessed, we're just going to add one more note. So we're going to go to the second string, third fret. The reason the third fret is that it's close in sound to the first string. So you have that whole step sound. And it gives you a little bit more variety. So here's a demonstration using 3 notes. All right, so I think you get the hang of it by now. You just keep adding one note. And what that does is it limits your possibilities. Because when you learn a scale, it feels like you have to play everything all the time, you know. But that becomes tedious after a while too. It's almost like playing one note the same way all the time. So you need variety, you need a focus, and that's really the key to a good solo, is having variety, because it gives the listener a chance to hear those different ideas that you're trying to present to them. If you just keep going through note after note after note, it eventually becomes white noise to a lot of people. They just tune it out and don't care anymore. And think about your favorite solos. What do they sound like? Are they just blazing through notes? Or do they have a shape to them? They have some contrast, which of course is key with any great melody. So what you would want to do next is go through, keep adding one note until you get to string 4, fret number 2. That is the note E. The reason why you want to get that far is those 4 strings are the best sounding strings for soloing. You can go lower, and there are lower notes in that scale. They sound great. The problem is when you have chords being played along with you, whether they're here, here, or even up here, they're going to get a little buried in the sound. So you want to watch out for that. You want to try to make sure your notes are cutting through, and by sticking to those top 4 strings, they will. So keep that in mind. Okay, so after you have all of that, you've gone through, you've learned that scale inside and out, you've practiced it with a 12-bar blues, your next step to take your soloing further is to add articulation. And what that means is that you're sliding, bending, and maybe adding a little vibrato here and there. Maybe even you add some effects every once in a while. Maybe add some distortion or some reverb or delay. And that will make it come to life so that you're doing more than just playing through a scale, you're really expressing yourself. So here's a demonstration of that. Let's just say you're playing on the first 2 strings and you do something like, okay, it sounds good. What if we slide into that first note from right above it? And then what if we bend, let's say the third fret on the second string? And of course, I'm bending a whole step, which is the first string again. There it is without a bend. And that little bend just gives it a little extra something there that makes it sound more interesting to the listener. Just got to make sure you bend in tune. Another thing, you have the slide, the bend, then vibrato. That's where you shake that string by going back and forth rapidly. And usually long notes work great for vibrato because you really hold them out and kind of go back and forth, getting that wavy sound there that you want. All right, so those are some of the things that you can do to start improvising a solo right now. Don't make it too complicated for yourself. If it's too hard, you're basically doing it wrong. You want to keep it simple and fun, and you'll have a great time doing it. Now, for more on the pentatonic scale, don't forget about Pentatonic Master. It's 97 warm-ups that help you master that pentatonic scale all over the neck. Again, I have some videos on it that you can check out. And if you go to themissingmethod.com, sign up for the newsletter and you'll get a free ebook, so keep that in mind. All right, so get to practicing and I will see you in the next video.